is an emotional state that we have when we're feeling disconnected. But our need for connection is ingrained in our DNA. Loneliness is a signal, just like fight or flight, that something isn't right. Loneliness is a public health crisis. But 1 in 5 Americans suffer from loneliness, which means if you haven't personally suffered from loneliness, it's almost guaranteed that somebody you know closely has. It can cause depression, and it can even lead to premature death. But now more than ever, we're living alone. We're spending more time online and less time making meaningful in-person connections. So when emotional storms hit, things like losing a job or going through a divorce or a death, instead of leaning in towards our communities, we've learned to suffer alone.
Class of 2015, I am so honored to be here today. Dean Khurana, faculty, parents, and most especially graduating students, thank you so much for inviting me. The senior class committee, it's genuinely one of the most exciting things I've ever been asked to do. I have to admit, primarily because I can't deny it, as it was leaked in the WikiLeaks release of the Sony hack, that when I was invited, I replied, and I directly quote my own email, "Wow, this is so nice. I'm gonna need some funny ghostwriters. Any ideas?" This initial response, now blessedly public, was from the knowledge that at my class day, we were lucky enough to have Will Ferrell as class day speaker, and that many of us, hungover or even freshly high, mainly wanted to laugh. So I have to admit that today, even 12 years after graduation, I'm still insecure about my own worthiness.
Requests for forgiveness fill art, including lyrics of pop culture, detailing mistakes and apologies between lovers, parents and children, citizens and governments, individuals and their gods. Victor Hugo's classic novel, Les Miserables, who's read it? Who's seen the show? Okay. The story illuminates the human costs of an unforgiving law. It imposes those costs not only on the criminal defendant, but also on the law enforcer. In its climax, spoiler alert, the escaped convict Valjean mercifully spares the life of the police chief who has spent years pursuing him, shocking the man of the law with the...
Now we need to begin to investigate the reasons why you think it's the right thing to do. Let's begin with those in the majority who would turn to go onto the sidetrack. Why would you do it? What would be your reason? Who's willing to volunteer a reason? Go ahead, stand up.
Because it can't be right to kill 5 people when you can only kill 1 person instead.
It wouldn't be right to kill 5 if you could kill 1 person instead. That's a good reason. That's a good reason. Who else? Does everybody agree with that reason? Go ahead.
Well, I was thinking it's the same reason on 9/11. We regard the people who flew the plane into the Pennsylvania field as heroes because they chose to kill the people in the plane and not kill more people in big buildings.
So the principle there was the same on 9/11. It's a tragic circumstance, but better to kill 1 and so that 5 can live? Is that the reason most of you had, those of you who would turn? Yes?
Using deceptive language in order to confuse. To equivocate means to confuse someone by using misleading language. The crooked salesman went out of his way to equivocate the sales terms to the elderly couple. The prosecutor hoped he could equivocate enough to trick the suspect into confessing. Whenever the politician responded to questions, he would avoid eye contact and equivocate his answers. People who equivocate are out to deceive for their own benefit. If you study your vocabulary, you'll be so smart, no one will be able to equivocate you with confusing language.